Dreaming about being a big star.
All right, guys.
They say you're basic, they say you're easy.
A lot of us want the wall built, right?
In the backseat.
But I can say without question, nobody wants the wall built more than Ann Coulter. Guys, give it up for Ann Coulter.
From doing that chant. So I was just watching Caitlyn Jenner on TV. So I wanted to say that as a proud black woman, I am so happy to be here. Okay, I know I may look white on the outside, but I've always identified as black. And considering the other transitions going on these days, I think that's a lot closer to reality. It's not even the most outrageous thing I've heard today. At breakfast, I heard someone referring to CNN as a news organization. In every other realm of public life, it's generally not helpful to treat people as if they're stupid. But that has totally been the Democratic Party's approach to black and Hispanic voters. You guys are stupid, we can so snow you. Many don't seem to mind. I'm so happy to be with those of you who do mind. President Trump, of course, I'm sure you all saw it, had a major announcement yesterday, and I went through the process I've been going through for 2 years now. I really hate Trump, and then I listen to his critics. The process is getting shorter and shorter. I start Tourette'sing at something. Oh, you idiot, you useless, lazy bum, we can't have amnesty. And then the MSNBC commentators come on, and I say, he didn't say that. He didn't do that. You're making that up. His critics are the best thing that ever happened to him. So Trump proposed a deal to open up the government by exchanging a wall for amnesty. That's when I was Tourette'sing. But of course, the Democrats immediately rejected Trump's deal. We're so lucky to have them as our opponents. They didn't just turn down the deal, they're actually indignant with him for offering it. How dare you? For the past week, all I heard on TV was, Trump has to learn the meaning of compromise, and oh, we have a man-child in the White House, and oh, he's throwing a temper tantrum, he has to compromise. Then he compromises, he twists himself into a pretzel, he sells out his constituents, and they say, it wasn't gift-wrapped. So I'm thinking the next time Merriam-Webster puts out a dictionary, we need a new definition of compromise. And apparently, the Democratic definition of compromise is they get everything, we get nothing, which is going to lead to a rewriting of a whole series of historical events. It's going to be Custer's Last Compromise. And the historical record will reflect that Poland and Czechoslovakia compromised with Hitler. The Battle of the Alamo will be Texas compromising with Mexico. Obviously, the fault is ours. We just didn't understand what compromise means. The media seem to believe that their most potent argument for mass immigration, open borders, is to put on angry immigrants on TV and have them yell at us. But I'm a refugee. I came here and I've been working to elect left-wing Democrats. So I think a thank you is in order, America. No, actually, we were hoping for something more like cured cancer or had a .420 batting average last season. Actually, instead of, no, I'm going to skip that. I was going to attack a particular host on MSNBC. Okay. Okay. So instead of MSNBC hiring a native-born black or a native-born Hispanic, no, they have child of refugees, your favorite and mine, Joy-Ann Reid. The daughter of immigrants who was on welfare when her father left her mother. So we're just getting all kinds of stuff out of Joy-Ann Reid. We do owe her. Gets a full ride to Harvard. And now she's the most entitled person on TV. We keep getting these immigrants haranguing us, and their main skill isn't curing cancer or their batting average. It's their particular level of indignation in calling us racists. So I think it's worth pointing out that immigrants are piggybacking on the black experience in America. I'm sorry to say this to the Hispanics in the audience, but I'm sorry you're gonna have to throw in your lot with, the Asians and the whites. We didn't descend from slaves, we don't get special benefits. This is the logical, normal, obvious point, and therefore it is the Republican position. The whole reason this country is sensitive to racial issues is because for about 200 years, African Americans got the short end of the stick. There was slavery, there was Jim Crow, and then we had the civil rights laws saying, okay, that's it. We owe them. We're going to spend it all on them. Now suddenly, an immigrant who arrived Friday is demanding special benefits. No, what did we do to you? By my reckoning, all we have done to the rest of the world is save them from earthquakes, starvation, warlords. I'm thinking they owe us. In addition to putting people who are refugees themselves on TV to harangue us and yell at us and tell us we suck, the media's second strongest argument against Trump's wall is, I am sure you have heard this 1 million times, probably, well, if you've been here, you haven't heard it, but if you watch CNN or MSNBC or picked up a newspaper, is illegal immigration is the lowest it's ever been. Lowest it's ever been, which I'll admit, if that were true, most people see that Trump is shutting down the government for his wall, and they say, wait, illegal immigration is the lowest it's ever been? What did you get me out of bed for that? It turns out, of course, like everything relating to immigration, that is a lie. Little footnote here, if you do get interested in the immigration issue, your entire life will be solving a series, it's like those highlights puzzles. What's missing from this picture? Everything the media says about immigration is a lie, and you have to examine their claims and figure out where the lie is. Well, here where the lie is, they're not counting people who come to our border and ask for asylum, because, it's legal to ask for asylum. Well, yeah, it's legal to ask for asylum, but it's not legal to make a false claim for asylum. It would be tax deductions are legal, but if I were to deduct on my taxes my acres of soybean crops I'm growing in my small Manhattan apartment, I wouldn't have a right to say to you, deductions are legal. Deductions are legal. I'm not doing anything wrong. That's what they're doing with this claim that illegal immigration is lower, because the new process for becoming an illegal alien, it used to be a one-step process, run across the border. Now it's present yourself at the border, claim asylum, and then never show up for your hearing. The claims that are being made at our border are just ridiculously flamboyant. For a while, up until Jeff Sessions got in, the claim was, well, my boyfriend beats me. Did we hang a shingle on our border saying, charity cases welcome, gigantic battered women's shelter? No, we can't solve the rest of the world's domestic problems. The other one that's so great is they claim to be victims of gang violence. Yeah, that's because you're in a rival gang. Yeah. We just did a drive-by on that gang, and they're furious. You gotta let me in, America. Hilariously, the more Trump digs in on immigration, and you will not see this in any media except Breitbart, the more he digs in on immigration, the more his poll numbers go up with Hispanics. So the Democrats totally know you guys. The fact that anyone supports the Democrats on immigration and open borders can only be attributed to the fact that the media are liars. All Americans are hurt by mass, uncontrolled immigration, but who's hurt the most? African Americans and Hispanic Americans. Mass immigration, particularly of low-wage workers, who's that good for? That's good for employers. They are shills for the rich on this. And you always have employers saying, whenever the immigration discussion comes up, and especially through Cato Institute, which is a shill for employers, they're always saying, no, we have a worker shortage, a worker shortage. Well, for those of you who read Thomas Sowell, you know there's no such thing as a shortage. Offer higher wages. That's how you don't have a shortage. But the plutocrats want an endless supply of workers so that they never have to raise wages. As it is slave labor, it's the modern form of slave labor, and it's the same people fighting it once again. As Booker T. Washington said more than a century ago to employers looking for foreign work, cheap foreign labor, his famous quote is, "Cast down your bucket where you are. Employ us." At least I understand why the Democrats want mass immigration. They're bringing in people who are voting 2-to-1 for the Democrats. Couldn't care less about our working class. They just want the voters. They just want the voters. In fact, I always thought it was kind of touching that the Democrats realized Americans wouldn't vote for them, so they'd have to bring in ringers. Okay, America, we tried this the easy way, but if you won't let us, we're going to do it the hard way. What I can't understand is why elected Republicans are helping them. Oh, now I remember. Republicans are sucking up to businessmen who say they're our friends, but really could care less about the Republican Party, the culture, or the country. They just want the cheap labor. So you will notice everyone in favor of mass immigration is in favor of it for his own reason. The Democrats for the votes, the Republicans for the donor money, and the businessmen for the cheap labor. None of these reasons fall under the category of what's good for America. It's one thing to be utterly self-interested, not to care about your fellow Americans, not to care about the middle class, not to care about the working class. Okay, fine, you're a selfish pig. But these open borders devotees strut around like they're Martin Luther King. No, they think they're going to be heroes with their maid because they're for mass immigration. Why don't you check with her sometime? I think she'd like a raise. I always tell people, if you're not sure what your position on immigration is, ask yourself, do I have a nanny, a maid, a cook, a chef, a driver, any generalized need for mass cheap labor? Because if you don't, mass immigration is hurting you as an employee. It's driving your wages down. It's hurting you as a taxpayer because those cheap wages have to be made up for by the taxpayer with food stamps and free housing and English as a second language classes. As the saying goes, cheap labor is only cheap for the employer. We never hear about how mass immigration is so fantastic for employers and the plutocrats and Wall Street and the fancy Wall Street ladies. Because our media lie. They lie all the time. You can't believe anything they say. And if they say it, you should say, no, prove it. Prove it. We don't believe you. Nothing they say is true, which is why, if you've read my magnificent bestseller, Resistance is Futile, I end on a high note. As you know, I'm a little tough on the Emperor God Trump for spending 2 years not building the wall. But I think the one thing we could get out of him is he could kill the media. And we can't make progress on anything until the media is 100% completely discredited for democracy to work, you have to have an informed citizenry. They have to know that what they're reading is true. Well, we can't do that now. No, modern journalism is wishful thinking. Yeah, so what if Trump robbed a bank? Then could we impeach him? Well, we're checking here with our legal experts. That's modern journalism. Yes, we have a report from BuzzFeed that he robbed a bank. So I just want to tell you, we have to be utterly unsentimental about this. There are going to be a rash of reporter suicides. Do not let that tear at your heartstrings. They have got to be killed for democracy to live. And it strikes me that if we get nothing else out of Trump, he is like chemotherapy for the country. You know, you have the cancer and chemotherapy, it makes you vomit, your hair falls out, and everything really sucks. But the cancer dies and you live. So with Trump, we'll vomit, our hair will fall out. It's really gonna suck for 4 years. But the entire New York Times editorial board will die and America can live. Thank you.
Mama said